Welcome everyone to episode 58 of the VoiceOFpunk. I'm your host, DJ Punk. Now, this is my review of the Expendables 3, which I just saw not that long ago. But before I get into the Expendables 3, I pretty much have to talk about what I thought of the other two. The other two Expendables I am a big fan of, because the Expendables movies are basically just a tribute to 80s action movies, and it's these a lot of people what a lot of people need to understand about these movies is they're not meant to be like really great films, because in all seriousness, they're not that great of movies. They're just only meant to be fun, dumb action, which they are extremely good at. So, Expendables 1 I really liked. That was very fun, and it was very action-packed. Pretty much had everything you wanted in an action movie. Expendables 2 was a lot more campy. It had a lot more catchphrases, a lot more the one-liners, and between the ones that I liked the most would be Expendables 2, between Expendables 1 and Expendables 2. But now with Expendables 3, I have to say this one is most likely the best out of all three of them, but at the same time, I do have a little bit of problems with it. Just before you guys go any further, I'm going to say that this video is going to contain some spoilers, and because I really need to talk about what happens. But anyway, so Expendables 3 is about the Expendables, of course, going after this arms dealer who they think is this guy named Victor. But when they soon find out, the arms dealer who they're going after is an old teammate of Sylvester Stallone's character Barney, and turns out these guys were old teammates, and this arms dealer, who's played by Mel Gibson, is a part of the old Expendables team, and was basically responsible for killing off the old Expendables team, the one before the one that you see in the movie. And his name is what's the character's name? Stonebreaks or something. Stonebracks. I can't remember the last part, but it's Stone something. And Mel Gibson is a great villain. He's actually really good in this movie. And one thing I have to say, that when I first heard that Mel Gibson was going to be the villain of this movie, I immediately said to myself, one, I hope he's drunk, and two, I hope he's racist. Just because of the comments that he made a few years ago. But no, but like the character who Mel Gibson plays is, at first he's very reserved, he's very classy, but then as the movie goes on, you get a lot more of the Mel Gibson that we know and love, the crazy whack job Mel Gibson. My cat Sly is meowing at me. One of my favorite lines in the movie comes from Mel Gibson, where he has the new Expendables team, with all the young actors, and he has them all hostage, and he goes up to this female UFC fighter who plays the character Luna. She goes up to Luna, and he's like, I feel sorry for you the most. She's like, I don't care how you feel. And Mel Gibson's character says this, no, I really do, because, I have a daughter, and, I have feelings and all that shit. So anyway, he just goes on and talks about his evil plan, and it was so funny. And then Harrison Ford is in the movie, he kind of takes over Bruce Willis's role, and Harrison Ford was great in this movie. There's a great part where um, he's talking on the radio with Stallone and Jason Statham, and Jason Statham asks him a question, and because he has a really strong accent, and Harrison Ford just without even missing a beat just says to Jason Statham, "I don't understand a word you're saying." Jason Statham's like, "Are you serious?" Says something else, and Harrison Ford says, "The hell kind of language is that?" And Jason Statham kind of looks at Sylvester Stallone and is like, "How the hell does he understand you but not me? This is bullshit." There's moments like that where they were really funny, and what was I gonna say? Yeah, like there was a lot of just like in the other Expendables movies, a lot of one-liners and a lot of references to these actors' other films, and one one thing that surprised me because I did not know he was in the movie was Kelsey Grammer. He's kind of like the Expendables recruiter in a way, and he was great. He played Kelsey Grammer, who is known for playing Frasier. He plays this recruiter who is very smart, but is complete and utter drunk, and it is so funny. He plays that role to a T. It is hilarious, and the action in the movie was great. Terry Crews in the movie, he plays the character Caesar. He's not in the movie as much, because what gets with the Expendables team on the case of Mel Gibson's character, not only is Sylvester Stallone has an old grudge with him, but he's responsible for putting Terry Crews' character Caesar in a coma, and you don't know if he's going to live or die, and in the end you find out he lives, but the amount of screen time that Terry Crews has is about, I'm going to say maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And it's that part there was kind of disappointing because I always did like Terry Crews in these movies, and the fact he only gets 5 to 10 minutes of screen time was a little, I understood it, but at the same time I wasn't really a fan of it. But one of the biggest issues I have with this movie is the young Expendables team. The reason why is because I just found them to be very forgettable, except for 2 people. And the 2 people were Luna, played by the female UFC fighter, and this hacker. I don't know who plays him, but this guy, this one guy who's a hacker, he was really funny. He was very cool. But the one issue that I really have with the new Expendables team is their leader. This guy it's kind of pretty much implied that he's going to take over Sylvester Stallone, and this guy is just such a bland and boring character that even the first thing that they say when they show him is he's good, but he has authority issues. And already I was like, oh god. And then you kind of show him and Sylvester Stallone have a connection, and mentor and apprentice, stuff like that. And the guy was just very forgettable, very bland, and I really didn't care for him. He only had one cool moment, and that was with the motorcycle in the final battle. And it's he's in a motorcycle and he goes off this huge jump, and he goes through one of the floors of a building, grabs on and shoots with his machine gun and stuff. That part was cool, but other than that, he was very forgettable. I barely even remember him after they introduced him and he came back, preparing for battle. I didn't even know who he was, and I was like, "Oh right, it's the leader guy." Yeah, you know. And in the final battle where like the hacker is like, oh, I can hack into the bomb, you know, I can stop the bomb from going, and he grabs the Dolph Lundgren's iPod GPS wrist thing. I don't even know what it is. And he looks at it and he's like this. Oh my god! You only have like 9% of power. Then Dolph Lundgren just shrugs and goes like this. I just use it try to check. I just use it try to check the weather. That was a funny part. Um, oh, I have to say though, the man who steals the show in this movie is Antonio Banderas. Um, I don't remember his name, but this Antonio Banderas steals the show. His character is hilarious. He's this guy who never stops talking. He's kind of like a parkour artist. Um, he's a really fast escape artist kind of thing, but he never stops talking. You hear that his other team fired him because he was annoying, and if his lines just all of his lines in the movie were very funny. He was used very well in the movie. There's nothing really much I can say about it because this movie is really good. It's really good in the sense where it's not a perfect movie because it really isn't. It's a great action movie. It's a great B movie. Like, it's a great movie you can just sit back and watch and turn your brain off because there's a lot of action parts in it. It's really cool. Um, and if you're an action movie junkie like I am, then you're gonna love this movie because of all the references and all the people who show up. There's even a reference with Harrison Ford in Star Wars. That was a really cool reference. You see, like Harrison Ford is like, you know what? It's time to get back into battle, and it's kind of like a reference to both his role in Star Wars and his role in Air Force One, and it was such a funny moment. And Jet Li returns. He returns from the second movie, and you find out he's working for Arnold Schwarzenegger. That was really funny, and yeah, the movie is very well done. It's very well made. I have a feeling this is going to be their last Expendables movie. I hope it's not, but it's there's really not much I can really say about this movie because like it was good, but it was just that's one thing people have to be reminded of. It's just an action movie, and it's a great action movie, and it's a really good movie, and I highly recommend seeing it. My cat is meowing like a madman. But yeah. So anyway, I highly recommend the movie. And oh, one thing I had to say, one thing I was very disappointed about. It wasn't the movie that really disappointed me. It was the theater experience because one thing that really disappointed me was think this movie was released just a few days ago, and the theater I went to was empty. There weren't much people there, and that part was very disappointing for me because I always wanted the Expendables movies to do well in the box office, and the theater I went to it was an empty house, like barely nobody there, and that part was very disappointing in my view. But anyway, yeah, I highly recommend the movie. It's very fun. You can what's that? Like, it's been so long since I did a review like this, so I'm trying to get back in the groove. But yeah, so I highly recommend the movie. Few problems with it, like the new Expendables team, I don't really care about. I find a lot of them very forgettable. But yeah, Jason Statham has great lines. The real Expendables are very good. They're always really good in these movies. Yeah, and like, oh, and before I end this, Wesley Snipes is really funny in this movie. I think he has actually one of the best jokes in the movie where, cause like Wesley Snipes was kind of like what Mel Gibson was. He was a old member of the really old Expendables team, and it's at the very beginning of the movie, it opens up with the Expendables breaking Wesley Snipes out of prison, and when they get him into the plane and the Expendables are talking to him, and they go like, "So we heard you killed like more people than we can count." He's like, "Yes, I did. I killed armies. I killed empires." He says, I was killing people when you were sucking on your dad's titty." And he says stuff like that, but then they say like, "So why were you stuck 8 years in prison for?" After all these badass lines, they say, "Why were you stuck in prison for?" And he just like he just kind of sits back. It's a really hard look on his face, and he goes like this: "It's tax evasion." It's just tax evasion, which is actually for real, because when he was arrested, it was in real life. He was arrested for tax evasion, and I thought that was a great joke. It was so funny. Yeah, so the movie is really good. I highly recommend seeing it, and it's I'm sorry this review is not, I'm sorry this review is not really that good, but this movie is very well done, very well made, and it's a lot of fun, a lot of references to other movies, to their other movies and 80s action in general, and so I highly recommend it. Yeah, I encourage you to see this movie in the theater, because it's really funny, really good, and I'm just going to repeat myself right now, but yeah, so the movie was fine. Like, the movie was really fun, and you guys should really take your time, pay for your tickets, pay for your food, and go see this movie. You will not be disappointed, I guarantee you. So yeah, so that's really all I can say about it. I really need to do more reviews. I need to get back in the groove, you know what I mean? But that's really all I can say about it. So yeah, so my next video, I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know when my next video is going to be, so this is my review of Expendables 3. I hope this review was helpful. If you want to see the movie or not, or comment if you saw the movie and you liked it, or tell me your thoughts about the movie if you saw it, or if this review was any good, or if I sucked in this review. Go ahead and tell me. I encourage any single comment, even if it's just a random comment from a guy from Asia. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my rambling, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later, guys.